is Lil Pocky with MMAMadhouse.com. Going to give you the rundown on CageSport 20. The event was held July 14th, 2012 at the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington. So there was 10 fights on the card. First fight of the night was Jory Taylor versus Gustavo Lopez. Early in the round, Gustavo Lopez got a takedown, was working some ground and pound. Taylor was able to get back up to his feet. Lopez got another takedown, was actually working a good belly down armbar, but Taylor escaped. And shortly thereafter, Gustavo Lopez ended up getting the TKO at 147 of the first round due to some ground and pound. Second fight of the night, Trevor Sojot versus Corey Bombar. Bombar shot for a takedown early, and in the transition down, Sojot was able to put on a guillotine that he ended up putting Bombar to sleep with at 54 seconds of the first round. Apparently that was Trevor's retirement fight. If so, we wish him the best in his future endeavors and what he chooses to do, and it was a pleasure watching him compete inside the cage. Third fight of the night was Calvin Horton versus Bo the Show Hamilton. Bo the Show Hamilton took the fight on 5 days' notice. He typically fights at 145. This fight was actually sanctioned at 170. He fought Calvin Horton, who had just about a 10-inch height advantage. Bo's 5'6", and I believe Calvin is about 6'4". The fight was actually fantastic. Bo was able to control Calvin using his wrestling, and he ended up taking the unanimous decision 30-27 on all three scorecards. The next fight of the evening was Levi Peasley versus Justin Harrington. This was an excellent fight as well. Actually, Peasley really controlled the first round. He was able to take Harrington's back and secure a body triangle, but he was never able to get the rear naked choke. He had that position for a majority of the round, but wasn't able to finish. That just goes to show how well composed Harrington was and how well he was able to defend that. In the second round, it was actually kind of a little bit similar to the first. Peasley was kind of having his way with the grappling. Ended up, Harrington actually caught him with a right hand, I think, that really stunned him towards the end of the round. And he might not have had enough time in between rounds to recover, because 21 seconds into the third, Harrington caught him with another punch that put him down, and then there was some follow-up ground and pound that finished that fight out. 21 seconds into the third round, TKO win for Justin Harrington. Next fight of the night was Benny Vinson and Chris Wheaton. These guys had an interesting fight. Benny was able to out-grapple Chris, and then ended up taking his back and securing the rear naked choke at 3:06 of the first round. The next fight was Shane Jamie against Omar Cruz. Actually, this was a really interesting fight because Jamie is apparently a wrestler, and he really showed that. There wasn't a lot of striking on his end. He was able to control position after he would get the takedowns and hold Cruz where he wanted him to. I would have liked to have seen more ground and pound out of him there maybe during that fight. But other than that, I think he did really good. He was able to secure the guillotine in the second round, 133 into the round. So that was a good debut win for Shane Jamie. I actually look forward to seeing his improvements as his career continues to go. Next fight of the evening was Jerome Jones and Byron Sutton. Actually, this was kind of an interesting fight. It went the distance with Sutton taken unanimous decision 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28. It was a good fight. Jones had the first round, I would say, and then Sutton was able to use his striking advantages and keep the fight where he wanted, and take a decision by winning rounds 2 and 3 more than likely on those cards. The next fight of the evening was Dario Mobley versus Brent Knopp. This was actually a great fight. Showed two guys really emerging, both in middleweight at 185. They're guys that you should probably be keeping your eyes on. Dario Mobley, he's out of Oregon, and Brent Knopp out of Washington there. They had a great fight. Mobley actually controlled the first round, was able to cut Knopp over his left eye. I believe it was with an elbow. Mobley was trying for a takedown, and Knopp was defending really well, but eventually Mobley got that takedown in the first round and really worked some good ground and pound, was trying for the submission, but Knopp really showed great defense. In the second round, Knopp came out and really kind of took control of the fight. He was able to secure the takedown and then ended up actually getting the TKO stoppage at 3:03 of the second round. It was a great bounce back round for Brent Knopp, and then he actually came, and a great win for him as well. Those are two good prospects out here on the Pacific Northwest in Mobley and Knopp, and guys you should really be keeping your eye on. Next up, we had the co-main events. In the first co-main event fight, we had Sally Krumdiak versus Patricia Little P. Vidonic. This was actually my selection for fight of the night, and a few of the people I was sitting around, they actually agreed with me on that. These ladies really put on a show. Krumdiak really kind of controlled the first round with her length and her striking ability. She was able to stifle the takedowns. Early in the second round, you could kind of see where Lil P was able to use her strength advantage. She started to secure some takedowns. She really was in guard and active, using elbows in her ground and pound rather than punches, and she was extremely successful with that. She bloodied Sally up pretty well in the second round. There was a couple times that it was close, but Sally really defended well, I mean, considering the position she was in. The third round was actually a highly competitive round for the two ladies. I gave the advantage in that round to Little P based on her grappling. She got a takedown and was able to secure the position for the majority of the later round there. She ended up taking the judges' scorecard 29-28 across the board. It was a great win, and the ladies really put on a great show for the fans. That was the one fight where during the fight, actually, the entire crowd was rooting for the local fighter there in Sally Krumdiak, and everybody was just screaming her name. It was great. That could have been what maybe helped her get through that second round when she was really facing some adversity. But it was great to see both the crowd with that type of a reaction for a local fighter, and just be able to watch that fighter get that reaction and continue to fight extremely well. The final fight of the night, the main event, James Merroll versus Sterling Ford. This was actually a great fight. You had the more trained striker in Ford, and you just had a guy that just wanted to brawl in James Merroll, and that's what he did. The first round, he was really able to dirty the fight up. You notice after a while, though, that Sterling was able to start counter-punching extremely well, and found a great home for his right jab right on the chin of Merroll. I would have gave a slight edge maybe to Sterling in the first round. In the second round, you can see Sterling was really able to come out and establish his striking, and he was able to get the TKO stoppage at 3:24 of the second round. Merroll really left it all on the table there in that fight. He came to fight, and he made it a great fight. Sterling Ford was just able to use that trained striking that he has, and the more precise punches, and eventually wear Merroll down. But hats off to both gentlemen. CageSport 20 had some great guests in the house as well last night to kind of put the icing on the cake of the fights. Former ladies champion with Strikeforce Misha Tate was there. UFC stars Dennis Hallman, Jeff Hoagland, John Albert, Brian Caraway. Pancrase veteran Matt Hume was also there in the building. The fans had a tremendous time throughout the night. They really got into the Hamilton-Horton fight. But the fight that really stole the show last night at CageSport 20 was Sally Krumdiak and Little P. They really put on a fantastic show. The fans rewarded them with some great chants for Sally during the second round, and a standing ovation there towards the end of the fight. The ladies did a tremendous job, and our hats off to them there. Sterling Ford had a good performance. Bo Hamilton had a tremendous performance overcoming the size difference there, taking the fight on 5 days. Really, you know, a tip of the hat definitely to Bo the Show Hamilton. But most importantly, a tip of the hat to Brian Hallquist and his production company there, Marin McCauley, and the rest of the people with Hallquist Productions. MMA Madhouse had a tremendous time at the event. This is Lil Pocky, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side.